Hello there, my name is Himnish Doyle, and I welcome you all to the Everyday Consultants podcast show, where we talk about the uncertain trajectory it takes to stepping into the shoes of a consultant's mind, from adapting to constantly learn, through research and developing their own theories, objectives, and opinions, to advising businesses from their area of expertise to communicate the fine line between an SME and polymath. Thanks for taking the time to join me, and let's tune in into today's episode of learning more about the universal meaning behind consulting and its independent take on first-hand perception. So for today's topic, a lot of the times we see a word, and when we try to put a meaning behind it, we see, another definition to what we might conceive of it firsthand. So like when someone sees pear, they're logically going to think of a fruit that we all eat. But when someone sees something like scientific, some might find scientifics in different ways. But it'll mean the same origin, but they'll think of it like a lava, they'll think of it like being more scientific of the answer you given, with numbers and theory behind it, or something around how scientific is something when you depict another problem to an if-then statement. And the same thing goes when someone sees the word consultant. Some look at it as someone just giving advice. Someone looks at it as the grand evolution of helping companies advance in terms of management and also finding solutions, creative solutions, especially to areas that they've not thought of before. Which is why consulting is so diverse, because we're working on other client projects, but we're also a company, and we're also trying to find different ideas by doing extra sources of work, by helping other teams and having our own internal network, our own federal services, our own design acquisitions, like Accenture's Fjord and Droga5, and smaller companies, whereas Capgemini has Grog and their federal services. So consulting is an area that they're all just trying to grow the mindsets of their employees. But just from what someone might perceive from it when they don't have background knowledge, can also be different. That's something to take into mind when you're in an interview. Looking at the perspective, they know what it is, but educating them from the sense that this is what someone might see from it, but this is what I see from it, because I've been educated from hearing this show, I've been educated from reading about it, or, just being essentially interested in the topics that they present. So taking those sort of steps to kind of see a first-hand perception to what people might interpret from it, and put your own meaning of what it might mean. I've seen folks say consulting is just ways for companies to make money to put extra workers on the field. It's a universal world. Anyone can have any meaning they want to associate it. Even though there might be a textbook definition, people tend to make their own hypothesis of it, which is why science is not like history, right? That's why then it has social science and not science next to it. It's like the rules are made. You can make your own rules of what you interpret from it, but the basics are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Same thing for when we go working out. Same thing goes for when we pick out the type of foods we want, the way we try to create other options out of it. But the origin is what made those other options out of that discipline. So that's one big sort of step we need to see when it comes to perception. Same thing goes with perspective. But I think perspective means is more from the angle side of things. So that can be talked about in another episode. But when it comes to perception, see kind of how do they look at what we do in their meaning, and based on that try to, I mean, you can always convince, but it's that ideology that they will only understand a different sort of take on it once they experience what those folks are doing on a repetitive basis. So you will see multiple definitions of consulting, but the one you make up out of it is the one that best suits your personality towards it. And every industry you work in outside of consulting is always going to change. But it's how you look at it, and based on that, not have apprehensions from expanding in there, but kind of just keeping in mind that it will change as you work with different clients. And I think that's the beauty of consulting, because it makes every client looks different from a consulting perspective in that industry. You know, when you work on money health projects, you have a sense of what the health industry looks like. But when you work on health, hotel, nonprofit, media, financial services, and application companies, you know, you get small insights of what they might be based on how many times you might have worked with them. Some you might have worked with once, some twice, some thrice, some quadruple. But you have a take where you go in, you know, you're not walking blindly into the field of work when trying to solve their problems as a consultant or as an official employee for that company. So hopefully you found this episode helpful and you were able to gain some insight from this episode. And if you know of anyone that's looking to go in this type of field or gain information like this, be sure to refer this podcast show to them by sending a link their way. And while you're at it, be sure to provide any feedback on Spotify that you might have about the episode, and also rate this episode and the show, as well as how much you enjoyed listening to it. And till then, keep putting that consultant hat on for striving, growing, kind of looking at opportunities all around you in the world of consulting itself. Until next time, stay tuned for another episode from Everyday Consultants, coming right at you real soon. See ya. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and also leave a review of how much you enjoyed listening to Everyday Consultants. While you're at it, be sure to provide any feedback you might have on my LinkedIn posts in the comments below. And if you know of a friend who's curious about learning quick bites of information regarding the life of a consultant, then be sure to recommend my show to them or anyone that you think might benefit from listening to it. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Reddit, and Twitter by searching my name on the platform. If you're interested in looking at some of my other professional content that is currently in the works, then in that case, you can take a look at my Linktree portfolio that can be found below in the description or show notes of this episode. Don't forget to tune in to listening to all episodes of Everyday Consultants and wherever you're able to find your local podcast. Until next time, stay broad, be curious, and be passionate about listening to a conversation where knowledgeable advice gets provided about the world of consulting, about a consultant in our next episode. Peace out.